All right. Maybe that won't be too loud right there. All right, so as I mentioned, I was notified this on Monday, so I did not have the book prior to this. So I may have a cheat sheet or may not have a cheat sheet, so we are in, is it 2 Corinthians? 2 Corinthians chapter 11. So I'm glad about this part because now y'all can talk back to me. It's not just me up here. So how does he normally do this? Because I haven't been here in a while. Does he normally just reads the question? He sings it too? Well, if there's any singing, I'll get you up here.
Just ask the question.
Ask the question, all right. So, number 1 says, why did Paul mention Eve in this chapter? Not everybody at once.
He was afraid that the people would be corrupted by the simplicity of the devil, the way Eve was.
So I did see that in verse 3. I didn't try to read through this when I could. He has to show that they too could be corrupted through subtlety. Okay, I had to read that one twice. Subtlety.
Or simplicity.
Simplicity, yeah. Now if I go too fast, you'll let me know. All right, number 2. It said Paul wanted to present the church, oops, I hit off of it. Present the church of Corinth as a blank to Christ.
Chaste virgin,
yeah. Which was found in verse 2 there. Does he normally go this quick? As soon as you answer it, does he go to the next one? Okay. So number 3, how did Paul rank with the other apostles? Say that one more time, sorry.
Not a whit behind the very chiefest apostles.
Not a whit behind the very chief apostles. Bit behind, yes.
He wasn't inferior to anybody.
Wasn't inferior, yes. All right, number 4. Paul said, though I be rude in blank, yet not in blank. This one was, I'll go ahead and do this one because this one was obvious. Rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. Does he normally try and explain it a little more? If he does, I'll let y'all do that.
He wasn't as good a speaker as some of those apostles, but they weren't any smarter than him. He knew as much or everything about it. So they didn't know any more than him. They may have been able to say it better. That's it.
Which is very true, because he should have known a lot there. So, verse 5, it says, in what sense was Paul a robber?
He took wages from other congregations in order to perform his task in this church.
So is that kind of like, with him doing that, is that sort of like us giving offering? Is that basically, or is that a little different? Took money from mission. Okay, got you. Okay. I keep losing my place. Number 6 here. From where did Paul get support while he was at Corinth? Yes. Yes, that's what he has here as well. It says, from the brethren of Macedonia. That's in verse 9. So we're going through this pretty quick. So, number 7. Why was it not surprising that some were transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ? Now this one, I tried to look at it, and I had a little trouble with this one. So.
And even Satan himself was transformed into an angel of light.
Yes. And we know how that went. So. And he said...
Yeah, I think that's a warning against those triggers, those preachers that are preaching bull and, getting rich off of it or whatever.
So those that I'm not saying all of them, but those that you see on TV that kind of do it for just publicity and stuff.
Well, he was talking about the false teachers, and he said, it's no wonder that they're doing it. He was able to transform himself
into an angel of light.
Yeah. right, number 8. Paul was a blank, and the seed of blank, in addition to being a blank of Christ.
Is that Hebrew?
Yes.
Hebrew.
Yes.
He was an Israelite.
Yes.
He was of the seed of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a minister.
Minister of Christ.
Right.
I'm trying to find that verse 22 and 23. Yes. Okay. All right, number 9. Paul had been beaten how many times by the Jews, receiving blank stripes each time?
I would not like to win Paul.
No. Yes, 5 times, yes. And 40. So I didn't really get this. He put save one on the side here. So he said he has 39 and then he put 40 and then after it he says save one. All right, number 10. He had been beaten with blank 3 times, stoned, and shipwrecked. How many times?
He's been beaten with rods.
Rods, yes.
3 times, stoned once, and shipwrecked 3 times.
That's what he's got here. And I agree with you. I would not have wanted to be him at all. I mean, that's...
I thought about this and I thought, my goodness, if you had taken 39 licks and then knew that at another time 39 more was coming.
And think that
Must have been.
people that complain or something that say, hey, I'm really sleepy, I don't want to go to church, and think what the apostles and disciples, what all they had to go through. I mean, that's... Whew. And for one, Jesus, I mean, knowing what he had to go through, and he knew his destiny and knew exactly what was going to happen and what took place, and he still went through with it. So, all right, number 11. After reading Acts chapter 14, verses 8 through 19, tell where Paul was when he was stoned. Lystra, yes. That was in verse 8 of chapter 14. One translation, this is number 12. One translation, the emphatic, someone can help me out there. Do what? Yeah, I don't. Anyway, in recording one of Paul's beatings, it says he was beaten with rods at Philippi. Who was with him at this time? Silas, yes. That was in verse 19 of chapter 16. Number 13. In Acts chapter 27, verses 37 through 44, and also in 28, verse 1, we read of one shipwreck. How many people were aboard the ship?
276.
276, yes. What was the name of the island where the ship was wrecked? Say it again? No, yeah. I'm glad you can say that. Let's see. How many perished in the shipwreck? None. Now that's awesome, man. None. All right. I gotta get to this one. Is this one in 2 Corinthians or is this in Acts here?
It's in
2 Corinthians. Okay. Name Paul's perils. Let me go to this.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, verses 26 and 27.
Start
Yes.
with 26.
Well, I'll just go through them. It's 26 and 27. So, in journeyings often, in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils by mine own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, am I saying that right? The perils. In perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness, in painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fasting often, in cold and nakedness. All right, number 15. After reading about Paul's many sufferings, do you think he gives these as something to complain about? No. Yes, that's right.
He was complaining about it. He was just talking.
He gives them, for like an example. Number 16, thought question. Paul let none of his sufferings keep him from doing God's will. Is it likely that God will excuse us when we let a little Sunday morning headache or a visit from a relative hinder our service to Him? Think about this seriously.
I don't know why there's such a big blank there.
Yeah, really. The answer should be no. Definitely should be no there. And one thing, as soon as I read that, a relative, why not invite them to church? If they don't want to go to church, well, hey, I'll be back. Or you be here and I'll come back in a little bit. I'm going to church. But, should I read 17? Yeah, I'll go ahead. Number 17. If you feel that you should sign the statement following, do so. Statement. I feel quite ashamed of having complained of my little headaches and pains when I think of what the great apostles suffered uncomplainingly. Should be signed by everyone. I know I would. Definitely would. Number 18. What did Paul call those things without? Now this one, I had some trouble with this one as well. Because Anthony wrote his perils, but I didn't understand it exactly.
Yeah, I put his
Sufferings, yeah. Okay. So like reading like his perils, and it says those things without, I kind of thought that he was going through these things, so I didn't know. But, all right, number 19. Paul said he would glory in his blank if he must glory. Infirmities, yes. Number 20. Underline the right word. Paul mentions a tub, a barrel, a blanket, and a basket in this chapter. A basket, yeah. That's what he left this one in blank, so that's what I had as well. All right, number 21. It says read Acts 9 or chapter 9 verses 23 through 25 and tell. Who helped Paul escape in the first one here? The disciples, yes. How he escaped?
In a basket.
Down the wall in a basket. Now that would be kind of scary, especially with the circumstance there. I know I would be terrified riding down a wall in a basket. But, all right, number 22. Paul wanted to be chargeable to none as he preached the gospel, which means that he wanted to preach it blank. Freely, yes. Now we go on to true and false here. Number 1. Paul compared the church to a chaste virgin. True, yes. Number 2. The devil deceived Eve through his subtlety. True. Number 3. The devil can corrupt people from the simplicity that is in Christ. True. He can corrupt you. It's it's up to us to stay faithful in Christ. Number 4. Speaking of himself, Paul said he was rude in knowledge, but not in speech. False, yes. Number 5. Paul said, I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do your service, or to do you service. True, yes. Number 6. Even the devil had transformed himself into an angel of light. True, yes. Do what?
I said say it.
Oh, yeah, really. Number 7. Number 7. According to Paul, the devil has ministers who pose as ministers of righteousness. True, yes. Would that not just be like false teachers or something? Okay. Number 8. As a minister of the gospel, Paul was much acquainted with laborers, stripes, imprisonment, and death. True, yes. Not to death, so it would be.
I got death circled.
Oh, so that one would be false then. Yes. Okay.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah. No. Okay. I got you now. This is Paul was much acquainted with laborers, stripes, imprisonment, and deaths. Yeah. Now, do you think that means like he saw deaths, or do you think it means like for him? Do you think that's why
The other
it has
things that had happened to him.
just to him? I was just wondering because it has an S on there, so it means multiple. So I
That's
didn't.
what I was thinking too.
I mean, I wonder if it
Sounds
means.
like, you know, more than one death.
Yeah. So like people around him.
People around, that's what I think, that's what I think.
That one is tricky. If it's talking about him, yeah, I agree, it would be false. But if it's he put true, and he didn't have
Over this one.
Yeah, he didn't have any explanation, but I'm assuming with the letter S there at the end that he meant other,
I had
like
not
more
put
people.
true or false. I had circled death
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like it was going to be false. is what I
Now, do you
thought
think
it was
it,
gonna be,
like-
But it could be, that could be a good explanation.
If it would have been just like one, or like just death in general, I think there it would have been like talking about himself, but with that being there, I kind of feel like it's talking about other people around him.
Were there a lot of places where it talks about Paul being associated with people dying? Because I don't remember.
Just the other disciples, but I guess that was later on. I don't know if that's in this time of that, but yeah. All right, number 9. Some of Paul's hardships were brought upon him by his own countrymen and some by false brethren. True, yeah. Number 10. At times, Paul was hungry, thirsty, and insufficiently clad. Is it clad? True, yeah. Number 11. Besides his sorrows, Paul had the care, anxiety of all the churches. You say true? I heard it. I couldn't tell where it was. Is it true?
Mine's blank.
Blank, yeah. Yeah, that one, that's another kind of tricky one there.
I thought it was from verse 28, where it says, besides those things which are without, that cometh upon me daily to care of all the churches.
That's exactly what he has. He put verse 28 as well.
So it's true?
And if there's any of these that y'all want me to go back and look over, he has, on the side, he has the verses to go and look them up. Because I know we're on the last one now, but we have extra time if you want me to go back, and I'll read that verse that he has on here.
It's okay.
All right, the last one, number 12. It says, in Jerusalem, Paul escaped death by riding a basket down a wall. False? Yes, it does say Damascus, because I didn't write that down, I should have wrote it down. Hold on.
Verse 32.
Verse 32?
Go ahead, it's ready.
Yes, 32, it says, in Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king, kept the city of Damascenes with a garrison desirous to apprehend me. And through a window in a basket was I let down by the wall and escaped his hands. So no, I mean, I looked it up as well. I think Jerusalem was like 135 miles away. So that one I would put false as well. But he has on here Acts chapter 9, verse 25. Let me go and look at that. Acts 9, 25. Then the disciples took him by night and let him down by the wall in a basket. I didn't look anywhere ahead of this, so it also says Damascus there in verse 22. Yep. So that one I would also put false just because it's in Damascus and not Jerusalem. All right.
You did good.
Thank you. A little rushed, but thank you. Is there any questions on that? On any of those? Okay. All right. Thank you all.